Hey, Kate, what did you eat last night?
I made a kind of normal thing, which was a chicken stir fry with vegetables, which I do a lot. But the difference in this one was that I used gochujang as the base for my sauce.
Wait a minute. What name did you just call me?
Rick just made this really cute little face and shook his head like a cat. You just put tape on its nose or something. He was trying to shake it off. Like, what are you saying? That was cute. It's a Korean chili paste, and it's one of the few fermented things that I actually like. It's also sweet. It's got some sugar in it, and it's really spicy, and it's thick. And it is absolutely delicious. I discovered it on the Food Network, of course, because they all use it. And
Wow.
So I used it as the foundation. So I made a sauce with it as the spice element with other normal stir-fry things. Sesame oil, soy sauce, tamari I like, and a little rice vinegar, and I can't remember what else. There was some citrus in there, I think. Actually, anyway, so I marinated the chicken, and then I used it as the base for the stir-fry sauce, and I made a cauliflower rice with it, and it was delicious.
I love that. I love that you hear stuff on TV, then you actually go out and buy it and use it.
Thank you. And this one was cool because I was like, I want to make a stir fry, but I make the same kind so often. I was like, I didn't want a normal kind. And I was like, I want to use this gochujang. So I just looked online for gochujang stir fry recipes, and I found a couple and then made one up based on, what I saw there. So
It's brilliant.
yeah, it does add a different flavor. It was really spicy though. Like, you got to like spice for that stuff. I'm just going to say, like, to make a whole stir fry out of it.
Nice.
Yeah. What'd you have?
I had followed this recipe I found in the Vegetarian Cooking magazine. It was a creamed curried spinach casserole. Because I often feel like I don't make enough casseroles, but I really love the quality of casseroles. They're very, comforting, and they make me feel good. Mm-hmm. So this one had butter, onion, it had fresh ginger, garlic, jalapeno, cumin, coriander, turmeric, and fenugreek. And it's really simple. Like, basically all that stuff, you're just putting in a pan, and you're just like letting it all just sauce up really good. And then you put in a little bit of flour and some milk, and then after you sort of whisk in the flour and the milk, and then after that you stir in spinach. It says chopped spinach, or frozen spinach, but I just use fresh spinach. And then it said, this is what I loved, is it had three cups of cubed naan bread. You could use naan bread or flat bread, but I use naan bread.
I heard naan bread, N-O-N, like. Like vegan cheese, naan bread.
It's really helping me lose weight.
Right, it's just 3 cups of air. Right, I see. I'm sorry. So naan bread.
Yeah, naan bread, yes.
Yes.
That would be N-A, I don't even know how to spell it. N-A-A-N.
N-A-A-N,
yes.
yeah. So just naan.
And then it had 8 ounces of cheese and salt and pepper to taste. And the great thing is, once you do that, you just mix it all up. Then you put it in the oven, you bake it at like 375, and it only baked for I think half an hour. It's had to do it longer, but I felt like it was done after that. And then it's super, super tasty and super, super good.
That sounds amazing. And I sometimes every now and then I look up like chicken broccoli casserole recipe. Like, I think about wanting something tasty and savory and casserole-y, and I just have never found one that sounds great. That sounds delicious.
It really was. And casseroles always bring me back to my childhood.
So it's very comfort foody.
Yeah, and my mom used to make them a lot. There'd always be one like on Thursday night.
Aw, that's cute.
Yeah.
I bet it didn't have coriander in it.
Guarantee. Hello and welcome to another episode of You Won't Believe What I Ate Last Night. I am Rick Fiore.
And I'm Kate DeVore.
And this is our ongoing conversation about food, health, weight management, and our endeavor to be and stay healthy in a really tasty world.
With love, kindness, and compassion towards ourselves and others.
And in that vein, we are talking about wine. Yippee! So excited. So excited alcohol has finally made it onto the podcast.
It's about time.
We had the great honor of being invited out to Round Barn Winery. They're a really exquisite family that owns this really beautiful winery. And here's a fun thing. Their website name, you got to check it out. It's www.drinkmichigan.com/roundbarn. Who doesn't want to drink Michigan?
Yeah, I think all the wineries in Michigan got together on that one, which is awesome. But Round Barn is my favorite. It's also really beautiful, and there is literally a round barn that's really cool looking.
Stunning.
And it's lovely. And they have a number of buildings and different wineries and tasting opportunities and a restaurant. And yeah, so it's a great place up in Michigan.
A lot of really great things you can buy. In this visit, we had the great honor of talking to winemaker Brian Carlson, who you'll hear in this episode. And we also talked to Matt Mersch, who is one of the sons in the family. And he used to be a winemaker, and now he's sort of the general manager of Round Barn Winery.
Yeah, so you will see, you should go to the website, our website, not there. Well, you should go to theirs as well, but you should also go to our website, youwon'tbelievewhatIate.com, because we're going to have pictures of our whole experience there, which is lovely. And I will tell you that the gentlemen that work there are all very attractive. So you should go look at the pictures.
I think they're growing grapes and attractive men there.
They definitely are. Because this is part of a 3-part series, you guys. We're not going to air them all in a row because we don't want it to be too much alcohol all at once. But we also are going to have an episode for you on beer. And spoiler alert, I don't like beer. And it was still really fun to do the tasting.
It was awesome.
And it was so awesome. And an episode on spirits. And so we're going to have 3 episodes, and we talked to 3 different experts, and both of the brothers, Matt and Chris Mersch, who run the place. And it was just a lovely, lovely trip up there. So go visit Round Barn and listen throughout the rest of the year to our 3-part episode for these guys.
And remember, if you have any thoughts or comments, you can email them to youwon'tbelievewhatIate@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at youwon'tbelievewhatIate. And send us your questions or any thoughts you have on an MP3. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Also, subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, iTunes, and SoundCloud.
Yes,
enjoy.
Do it. So who are you, and what do you do here?
My name is Brian Carlson, and I'm the winemaker.
Nice. What did you eat last night?
I had a salad, and then I had leftover crock-pot jalapenos and rice and onion and pork. It's very tasty.
That
Nice.
sounds good.
Mixed in
You
some
buried
sour
the
cream.
lead there with the pork at the end. I'm like, he had crock-pot jalapenos.
I was wondering where that was going. I was like, that's ambitious.
Sounds tasty.
It was.
Yeah.
Great. So, first question, what defines a beverage as a wine?
Well, to me, it's traditionally been you take grapes and you ferment that juice and with yeast, and then you've got wine. There's been dandelion wine you've heard of, but predominantly, to my thinking, it's been grape, but obviously lots of other fruits are used, and we make various other fruit wines.
Is that a
besides grape.
Midwest thing to have strawberry wine and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, more so. I'd never made non-grape wine until moving out here. I know South Dakota does a fair amount of other fruit wines as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'm from the East Coast originally, and I don't think we had it out there so much.
Yeah, I haven't
But they
really
don't make
seen
wine
it
out there, really,
in
so
California,
there you
Oregon,
go.
Washington.
Yeah. All right. Great. So you're gonna show us some wines, and we're gonna get to taste them.
Yeah.
So are wines always named for grape varietals? So is Chardonnay a grape, for example? Or
Chardonnay is the name of the grape, Riesling is the name of the grape, etc. There can be proprietary names. We do like a Vineyard Tears. It's a blend, a white wine blend.
Where'd that name come from?
I'm going to let Matt answer that one. That precedes me.
The Vineyard Tears is just the legs on the glass can be called tears also. So when you swirl the wine around, those are also known as tears on the glass itself.
Well, that's very clever.
Yeah.
I never knew that. Legs I'm familiar with, but...
And then the Vineyard Tears is pretty cool because it was the original blend has been mentioned multiple times in the Wall Street Journal too as a really good buy for regional wine.
Terrific. Good.
And Matt, what do you do here?
I'm one of the partners here. I'm the youngest son. I was the winemaker, distiller, viticulturalist, and now I'm just kind of more overseeing things and big picture items, multiple departments, the restaurant included now too. So we brought Ryan in off the West Coast with 20 plus years experience to really hone in our winemaking practices and kind of continue this tradition on and hope, we're always trying to improve too. So with experience, we're hoping to do those things.
Nice. What did you eat last night?
I had a takeout sandwich from the public house, the turkey smoked Gouda with apple, which is
sounds
nice. Nothing special, just I didn't want to cook, so.
Luckily, you own a restaurant,
Yeah, exactly.
so that's pretty handy.
beneficial, yeah. And otherwise, I do Blue Apron quite a bit too, because
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, it's just interesting stuff that I normally would never buy at a grocery store, so it's been kind of fun.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
So, what are your favorite grapes and why?
Me, for white wine, my favorite is Sauvignon Blanc. And I like it because I think I like a little more acid in my wines than a lot of people do. And Sauvignon Blanc tends to be on the higher acidity side. I find it more versatile, I think, with a lot of foods than Chardonnay. I mean, I love Chardonnay, but I drink a lot more Sauvignon Blanc. I like its crispness. There's fruit, but there's also some herbaceousness mixed in. My favorite red is Pinot Noir. I have a hard time finding one I like, but when I do, it's like, wow.
I find Pinot Noirs tend to be, they tend to be like watery and sort of wimpy.
Well, they're
Am I just
definitely
not drinking the
not
right ones?
as yeah, they're not as big and bold and tannic as
I like California
some.
cabs, so like that's where I tend
yeah.
towards. So Pinot Noir is like,
Too light.
I like the
Yeah.
I like the finesse and the delicacy of Pinot Noir.
Well, with
I've had
food,
one
More
or two that are
ethereal to
amazing.
me.
With food, too.
Ethereal.
Yeah.
as you're eating, like the big cabs
Can
can
be
only
really
hold
good.
up to so many things, whereas the Pinot Noir is so diverse on what you can eat with it. So it's something to think about as you're drinking them. That when you're eating something, it can go from white meats, shellfish, to red meats too, depending on the type of Pinot. So that is a nice versatile red that you could bring out for almost any occasion.
Yeah, and you didn't ask me this one. My favorite meat is lamb, and Pinot Noir with lamb is a great combination.
Really?
All right.
Okay, that's good. So we were going to ask you about food pairings. It seems like we're sort of moving into that organically.
Yeah.
Like, what are your thoughts on that? Because it used to be really rigid, like reds with beef and whites with chicken. It feels like there's a little more flexibility now.
Well, I think there is those traditional thoughts were there for good reason, and they still hold true. But drink what you like, eat what you like. If it tastes good with what you're eating, that's fine.
Right. So that's
You
there
don't
are
have to
affinities,
listen
though,
to anybody else. If you like it and it's good for you, then do it. The same with wine.
right? Yeah.
People try to steer you, and it's like, listen to your palate. Listen to your own palate. That's what I encourage people.
The salesperson in me will automatically tell you guys to go to Free Run Cellars, which is our sister winery, and they're the only tasting experience that we offer is a paired wine and food tasting. So
interesting.
it's wine specifically paired with types of food that showcase the wine and the food. Using local ingredients, etc. It's showcasing also for people that don't normally like dry wine, that okay, when I have the right food with it, it's like, whoa, it blows you away. Same thing, like a lot of people maybe poo-poo the sweeter wines, but when it's paired properly, it's with especially savory or something like that, let's say, it's just it can really blow you away on what these things can do. So our sister winery, it's really kind of our test, smaller batch, where we wanted to take that next measure for our customers to educate them too on food and wine pairing.
So are there classic pairings, even though we're saying whatever you like is good?
Well,
Can you talk
sure.
a little bit about classic
like
things?
for me, Sauvignon Blanc, classic pairing would be more shellfish, oysters. I love oysters. That's a great pairing. Pinot Noir with lamb goes well with turkey. A lot of times you might think turkey with white wine, Chardonnay or something, but it goes. Pinot Noir and turkey go well together. Cabernet Sauvignon and a steak, of course, is a great combination.
Yes, it is.
Chardonnay and linguine Alfredo, fettuccine Alfredo with some salmon or scallops or good pairings, I think. Cab can go great with chocolate cake dessert of some sort. It's not just meat. It can pair well with dessert. Also,
What about cheese?
there's a humongous range of cheeses. So
Stinkier,
there can be
the stinky's going to need the
bigger
either more
reds.
floral or bigger reds, and then the more mild cheeses are going to be more delicate wines.
Oh, right.
Floral. What's an example
like
of a floral wine?
dry Gewürztraminer or Gewürztraminer is extremely floral. The
Which is different
muscats,
than
things like that.
fruity.
Huh?
Which is different than fruity,
Well,
right?
I mean, floral,
Or-
fruity, very, yeah.
Okay. I don't always know what the difference is in the terminology.
Well, floral
Like,
would
it's a
be
petulant
more,
wine with a...
more smelling of flowers,
Okay.
the blossoms.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Would this be a good time to do a tasting?
Yeah,
In
yeah.
between.
Great,
Let's
yeah.
drink some
I
wine.
think it's time.
Let's get one in.
That's right. And then we can talk about...
Your wines.
Yeah, exactly what you got.
Riesling
Tastings.
goes really well with a lot of sushi and spicy Asian foods is another pairing.
That's right, a slightly sweeter wine, right? With like Thai or Indian.
Yeah.
Great. All right. What are
What are your
will you lead
recommendations?
us? You'll
Yes.
lead us, right? We don't want to have to pick.
Well, sure. I mean,
Great.
we can do either. Or,
Yes, you lead us. Tell
I
us.
would prefer you,
Yes,
you
I
to
would
be in
prefer
charge.
for you to take the lead. Tell us what we're going to taste and why you think we should be tasting this particular wine from your vineyard. That'd be awesome.
Look at the cute little glasses.
They're adorable.
You guys can't see them, but the tasting glasses are super cute.
These are stemless, so they're not as prone to falling down,
Yes.
tipping over.
Important.
Ryan, where we start?
Well, let's start with Sauvignon Blanc.
I knew
My
it.
favorite.
I already
Ah,
All right.
right on.
So what are we tasting here?
So Sauvignon Blanc is the name of a grape, right?
Yes.
Does it have other names? I know sometimes grapes have multiple names, which confuses me.
Not to my knowledge on
Okay.
Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers, you guys. All right.
Thank you.
So what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to smell it? We're supposed to look at it? What is
Yeah,
one doing?
so swirling, there's a purpose to swirling. You see people do that, and it's like, why are they doing that? What's that all about?
'Cause it looks
And it
cool?
helps to bring the volatile aromas of the wine into the bowl of the glass so that you can better smell.
Smells
and,
grapey.
You
Yeah.
know, your,
It really does. I'm not kidding.
your nose notices a lot more about the wine than your mouth does. You've got
Ah.
more sensory, you can smell
smells so
hundreds
light.
or thousands or whatever of different aromas, and you only taste 4 or 5,
Okay.
So this one doesn't have a lot of tears. I'm losing my new vocabulary. Is that correct?
The first thing is really you're gonna do exactly what you're doing. You're swirling it, you're looking at it, so you're checking for clarity, the viscosity or alcohol. The tears will get fatter if it's more viscous and more sweet.
Oh, awesome.
Also, on reds,
Sugar?
you would be looking for
Alcohol
browning.
and sugar
Yeah.
will
The sugar's what makes
have
the
an
legs?
effect of-
The alcohol too. So the alcohol, a high alcohol product will make very thin legs also.
Oh, interesting.
So just by looking at that right now, you can tell that, if I pour a sweeter wine in there, the legs will be much thicker and slower to come down.
Okay.
I've always
viscous.
grown up with good legs.
So then
I'm
you're
like,
also
good legs, but I
looking
don't
for
quite know what it
clarity.
means.
Are there, flaws? Is it brown? Color-wise, hue. Those are all taken into account. Usually more on reds than whites.
Okay.
And then, so then you would swirl to open up the aromas and smell. And you want to visit any wine first by your nose and then by taste.
Yeah.
And then usually you bring it into your mouth, and then a lot of times will draw a little bit of air in. It's called trilling, or it's exactly. And by doing that, you're getting some oxygen also into the wine, and it gets through your whole palate, so that you can
That's so
taste
good.
the acidity, the sweetness, the fruit. So
I don't always love Sauvignon Blanc because of the acid. I tend to prefer less acid. I like oaky,
Okay.
buttery Chardonnay.
Yeah.
Like the opposite, I think.
Yeah.
This is delicious.
This could go a long way. This
Yeah.
is great.
Because
Very
of
nice.
so what words would you use to describe this? Is it fruity? Is it like I really wasn't kidding when I,
I think
said
it's a
grapey.
classic Sauv Blanc style. It's more of a French style than New Zealand. New Zealand has usually a lot more of the grassy zest, I would say, versus this is more of a fruit mineral.
Right.
Do you
Right.
grow all your own grapes or do you import them?
Yes, we try to grow a majority of them, 80 to 90%. We did, however, have 2 winters in a row where we had almost 100% crop loss. So
How tragic.
Yeah.
we were down
Oh my
15
God.
below zero for a couple days, and that basically will kill the plant down to
Wow.
the ground almost.
Really? So the whole plant's a loss.
So in that case, I mean, it's not the first time it's happened, but we've secured sources outside of this region for those reasons. So a lot of times we'll use something from like the Willamette region. It's more similar to our climate than anywhere like California, for instance.
Yeah,
So we try
I
to
see.
kind of
Keep
keep
it
it
in the
close to what we're going to
family.
do if we are having to source fruit.
amazing.
But we do grow a majority of it. We have 32 acres that we farm ourselves and another 25 under contract. So the majority is grown here.
What does this RS mean?
Residual sugar.
So on the menu it says RS, and then there's a number after that says 0.02%.
So that's how you know it's dry.
Okay.
I see. 0.2%. Yeah.
0.2 for the
Point-
soap.
Yeah,
Okay.
0.2. Yeah. All right. That was delicious.
Great.
What's next?
Try Chardonnay. You seem to like the Chardonnay, so we'll have you try Chardonnay.
We both like
We're a
Chardonnay,
sucker for
generally
Chardonnay.
I like
speaking.
Chardonnay too. That's a lot of what I enjoy. I went to Burgundy a couple different times now.
Oh, nice.
And when I went to Burgundy, I was like, oh, Chardonnay, meh, you know. And then when I left Burgundy, I was like, okay, I'm completely inspired. And
Oh, nice.
you know,
sounds so
our
good.
climate's very conducive to get those same sort of flavors of Burgundy. Not so much southern Burgundy. You're going to see that more, I think, in the West Coast style, but a little bit more towards the middle to the north. You know, I wouldn't say quite Chablis, but kind of in that medium area.
So Chablis is a grape.
Chablis is a grape.
Burgundy's a
white,
region.
white Burgundy is Chardonnay.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to know.
It's a region.
It's not
So
a
Chardonnay is the grape. Chablis is a region. Champagne, Burgundy is a region.
So Chablis is a Chardonnay?
Correct.
Interesting.
Awesome.
All right.
This smells amazing also.
This smells great.
Totally different. It's like fuller, it's woodier, it's like got more, it smells richer to me. More complicated.
Yeah, Chardonnay can be made in a number of different styles.
my
There's
God,
two
that's
major
good.
styles, like fermented in stainless steel with no oak and no malolactic fermentation, which is a secondary fermentation that converts malic acid, which is naturally in the grape, to lactic acid. Or you can do barrel fermented and the malolactic fermentation, and
I'm
they
guessing
make
this is in
totally
a
different
barrel.
wines. Yeah.
I like the oak and
So
my God,
Chablis would be
It's
the
really
stainless
tasty.
style, and then a white Burgundy would be more the secondary style.
I
so
think my favorite wine I've ever had in my life was a white Burgundy. I don't
they
remember
do know what
what,
they're
but
doing.
Do you feel like
Yeah.
there's a grape that's overrated today?
Overrated?
Yeah. That you're like, oh, I don't believe someone's asking for another of this.
like the whole
White Zen was like that
Yeah.
for quite a while,
Oh, but that's just
but now not that I know of.
Is there
I
a
mean,
good White Zinfandel? Is it possible to have a good
Well, I
wine that's a
mean,
White Zinfandel?
They
If you don't make
sold
white Zen,
millions of
you make a
cases of it.
Zinfandel.
They sold millions of cases of it, so
I
the
know, but I
consumer
mean-
is always right?
That's true. It is. It's what you like. It's what you started with.
Yeah,
it's what you
very
like.
good.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
exactly. That's nice.
I think rosé got such a bad name though because everyone thought it was that. Everyone
Yeah.
thought it was White Zen.
I didn't
Yeah.
like rosé until Kate
I
told me.
really
about it.
like rosés. We made one this last fall with Pinot Meunier, and I'm really enjoying that.
Okay, what is this now?
This is Albarino. It's a
I've never even
Spanish
heard of
white
that.
grape
How
that
exciting.
is pretty new to our region, and the reason we like it, it's a looser cluster. We have a lot of humidity here, so less chance of getting any sort of fungus. It makes an excellent wine, similar to maybe kind of a Sauv Blanc
It
Riesling.
smells acidy.
Yeah,
It's a sharp. There's a
Super sharp.
sharpness to it.
Yeah.
We think this is
Look
an
at us knowing
excellent summer
things.
or
I'm
food wine,
surprised.
too.
I know stuff. Because I like wine, but I never knew how to talk about it. When you were talking about the legs, I'm like, oh, I'm totally that person that's twirling it, having no idea what he's looking for.
It's like opening the car engine when your car breaks down and
Right.
just standing there. Oh,
It doesn't work.
Yep, that's broken, all right. Oh. This is super sharp. After the Chardonnay, it's jarring.
Yeah,
to me.
so when Brian was talking about malolactic, so malic acid is like an apple, think about that,
Yeah.
and then lactic acid is like a milk. So think about those two differences right there. When you're changing malic sharpness of apple to milk, lactic acids, how much softer that is, you know?
Totally. So
And
this is high in malic acid, and it's
Well,
fermented
it's-
in metal?
It's not that it's high in
Yeah.
malic, it just has not had malolactic, that fermentation process.
Does that mean it's younger? Is
No,
that,
it's
what
just
does
a
that
style.
mean?
It means
I
that we
see.
did not
Different style.
add that on purpose.
Right. Okay.
The
second
malolactic
sip is
process is a deacidifying process. So by putting it through that secondary fermentation, it does reduce the acidity.
Makes it milkier.
Yeah.
It took me 2 sips to get the Chardonnay out, I think, because now I really like it. It's fruitier now than it was
Yeah.
in the first sip.
Because at first I thought, oh, I couldn't drink a lot of that, but by the end I'm like, I could drink a lot of that.
Yeah.
And which one is this?
This one's Vineyard Tears that we talked about earlier.
Haha.
This is one of my favorites. I like a good blend. This is 30% dry Riesling, 30% unoaked Chardonnay, and 30% Riesling Chardonnay and Pinot Gris.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Wow.
Could I have it for a second?
And 10% vapors.
Vapors.
One third.
33.33.
Sorry, boss.
And why do you like this one? Is it the mix?
I just like the blend. It's it's more complex. I like it as a summer
Oh
wine.
my gosh.
Just it's really not to use well-rounded, but it is. I feel like.
So, are sweet and dry opposites? I learned recently that I've been using those terms wrong. I've been using them as opposites, and I think somebody told me they're not.
Well, I would say yes.
Okay.
I would say yes.
Okay.
But
Then the other person didn't know what they were talking about.
dry can also refer to like a red wine's tannic impression.
I see.
So the drier it is, maybe the harsher tannins perception it would have.
So,
But yeah, usually it's
According
dry
to-
is not sweet and sweet is sweet, obviously.
so according to this, then the Chardonnay has the least sugar of the bunch,
Correct.
which would make that technically the driest,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the tannins are a perception of dryness, so it seems even drier because of the oak tannin.
And one of the reasons that tannin is drying is, this is maybe a little bit gross, but I mean it binds up with the saliva. There's proteins in your saliva.
Right.
You feel it.
And the saliva
Okay.
It can be
coats
chalky.
and lubricates your mouth. And so the tannins binding up with that take it out of your
Interesting.
mouth, and so you're not able to lubricate your mouth with your saliva. It feels dry in your mouth.
That's
Okay.
interesting. Now, you started us with whites. Is there a reason for that? That one starts a tasting with the whites?
Well, yeah. So as I was just saying, with reds, they can dry your mouth out,
And they get
make it
stuck
a little
in
bit
there.
make it a little bit more difficult for you to appreciate the delicacy of the whites, as well as not just the tannin, but the reds are bigger, bolder, more powerful, and they make it a little more difficult to really.
That's so great. I never put that
Appreciate the
together
white
about
wine.
the reds drying my mouth out.
Yeah.
I'm always wondering why I can never drink white after red.
There you go.
There you
Not a
go.
professional yet.
Riesling, is this a dry or a sweet Riesling?
This is moving into that semi-dry now, so
Semi-dry.
it has little over 2% residual sweetness. So we stopped the fermentation a little bit early to retain the natural sweetness of Riesling. A lot of Rieslings tend to be sweet. I would say this is a slightly drier style.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. I have to say, I haven't historically been a huge fan of Midwestern wine. And this is amazing. Like, this is real wine, people.
Do you hear us?
Yeah. It's delicious.
Yeah, so I moved here from Washington State, where I'd made wine for many, many years,
Yeah.
and I hadn't had Midwestern wines, and I've actually been very, very favorably impressed.
Shwoo, huh?
Yeah.
Since you came.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
That would have been a bummer if you're
Right.
like, and it sucks.
No, I'm really excited about what we have here and the wines I produced this last fall.
Oh my gosh. Tasty.
Did you want to go sweeter yet, or move to some reds, or?
I think reds?
Reds. Let's move to reds.
Yeah, let's move to reds.
Wow. Matt, you're the one we can talk to about the names later, yeah? How you came into the name, deciding on names for these? Great.
Edel Dew, is that, Dew I know means sweet. What, is Edel a grape?
Noble,
All right, so which one
nobly
is...
sweet. It's a late harvest, almost ice wine style, so it's very sweet.
Oh, yeah.
This is our Pinot Noir. It's the softest of the reds that we have.
it smells so good.
Lightest, I guess I would say, as far as our red portfolio.
You can just smell that coming out of the glass.
It smells like
Real pretty.
a campfire. It's like smoky smelling somehow.
The toasted barrels, yep.
Oh, yeah? You toast the barrels?
We don't, they come that way. So
For all wine or just this one?
all wines.
To make the barrel, it's got
Yeah,
a
yeah.
bend in those staves. To bend that wood, they have to heat it over a fire, and then they slowly bend those staves, and then fire creates charred oak on the inside of the barrel.
I watched them do that at the Guinness factory in Dublin. We
Yeah,
got to
really
see
neat.
them actually
Yeah.
make a barrel. It was super cool, but I didn't put the
there's
connection together that it would make a flavor.
varying levels of toastiness, which would affect the impact on the wine.
Oh, see, that's delicious and more complex than I expect from a Pinot Noir, which often tends to be, like I've sort of said, wimpy to me.
Yeah, this has a lot going on.
It's delicious. We kindly have been given some water because the chalkiness, or whatever you want to call it, the tannins, I guess.
Yeah.
That's going to have less tannins, obviously, than a heavier red, right?
Right.
But I can still feel it on my tongue.
And then I'm trying to think if there's anything we can move in.
Well, yeah, like about
between these.
also, yeah. So you had talked about the appearance and things like that. Like, how would you, like in a restaurant, they give you a taste of the wine. How do you know if you should send it back?
Yeah.
What are you looking for?
Okay, that's a very good question.
Merlot, we're about to taste. Okay.
One of the first things you'll
That
look.
smells really good.
You'll
I'm
look
sorry, I hope you can
for,
answer that question
no,
while we
it's good.
taste.
That's all right. That's all right. I'm glad you're
That is
enjoying the
really
wine.
delightful
Oh my
because
God.
I've gone off Merlots over the last couple of
It's
years.
that movie Sideways.
Yeah, ruined.
Ruin Merlot for people.
But every time anyone offers me Merlot, I'm like, oh.
Did that damage the Merlot business?
Oh, yeah.
Did it really?
But I love Merlot.
Yeah. me
Yeah,
as
I
well.
think it got really shit on. Like, it wasn't fair to Merlot.
No,
That movie at all.
that was ridiculous.
Totally. Okay, so
anyway,
in a restaurant.
The first thing that I look for is has the cork ruin the wine, and that can happen because corks in your manufacturing process can come in contact with mold,
Yeah.
and in some of the manufacturing processes, chlorine. In washing and cleaning and sterilizing, etc. And the mold can convert the chlorine into a compound called trichloroanisole, or TCA, and it has a really musty kind of smell that really can ruin wine.
So we're smelling the cork for no sense of mold or mildew, right?
Right.
Or when we're looking at it.
mustiness.
Although I've had
Looking
some
at the cork, you
Cabernets
wouldn't
that
likely see it.
have a little mustiness than they're supposed to, right? Like, that's not always a bad word.
Well,
when it comes...
right. It's kind
it's
of
a matter
a
of degree, maybe?
nuance. That is it from the wine and the grape and the barrels, or is it from a TCA affected cork?
If the cork has wine on it and you can see the wine, is that necessarily a problem?
No.
It's more,
Other
it
than
hasn't failed and come up the bottle.
Yeah,
Basically,
is the
or
cork-
crumbled to nothing.
Is the cork
cork- okay.
soft?
You shouldn't be
and-
sitting there smelling it or anything. That's like faux pas, really. Don't
Well, I'd smell the cork because
Well-
that's going to be.
Beg to differ.
that's the West Coast.
That's going to be.
Pretentious
Dissension-
out here
yeah.
in the Midwest.
Dissension at Round Barn. Dissension at Round
That
Barn.
and has that TCA in it. You'll
Yeah,
notice
if it
it
smells
there.
gross.
It's
yeah.
like a wet cardboard taste.
Okay. So you got us past the cork.
You'll smell, is it oxidized? What I call over the hill. Sort of a pumpkin smell. Acetaldehyde is an oxidized
And nail
smell.
polish.
Oh, yeah,
You'll look
okay,
at
that's
the
a good
color, like on a white wine. If it's gone brownish,
I've seen
that's
that.
a sign of it being over the hill.
Uh-huh.
Does it smell like rotten eggs? Sometimes wines in the fermentation process produce H2S, which is the classic rotten egg smell, and then there's other sulfide-containing compounds that could smell like rubber boot or a burnt match or garlic or
None of those sound appealing.
Right?
Yeah.
No.
So talking to someone like me, who I've always had a desperate fantasy to be in a restaurant, I sample the wine, and then even though it tastes fine, I've had this desperate fantasy to spit it out. If I chose to do that, what phrase would I want to use to justify it?
I don't know. Egad!
Tainted.
This is tainted. I'm going to use that.
What if the wine is fine but you don't care for it? Are you allowed to send it back? What's the policy?
I don't think that's appropriate, really.
You could ask management, and most times, and not they will offer something else.
Okay, just curious. I wouldn't probably ever do it. I was just wondering what the policy is.
I mean, it's like sending food back.
Right? Yeah, exactly. What's the difference? You have two Cabernets here, I see. What's the difference? One is called Cabernet Sauvignon LMS, and one is just Cabernet Sauvignon. I see they have a different sugar.
So the LMS stands for Lake Michigan Shore, which is our region.
Which is this one, okay.
And the excuse me, the other one is if you look at the label, it would say American, as opposed to LMS. So that was a wine that we sourced from the West Coast because we didn't have the ability to make any Cabernet Sauvignon for 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Cabernet's my favorite red typically.
Oh,
so
that
I'm
smells
excited.
really wonderful. So as we're tasting this, what can you tell us about storing wine once it's opened and how to prolong the life of a bottle of wine if you don't finish it in one night?
So with reds, I typically find that I might like the wine even better the next day after it's, you open it, you drink some, the next day it's had some more exposure to some air, and I'll often like it better.
How long can you keep it?
The next day is usually still very good. Beyond that, over 3 evenings, you should have it drunk, and it should be still very good over 3 evenings. White wine, I typically, drink what I wanted that first evening, put it in the refrigerator. I don't.
Does white wine last longer?
No, I don't think they'll last, more than 3 days
Interesting.
either, unless you have like a vacuum pump system that can help pump the air out, or you've got a bottle of compressed nitrogen or something you can blow in there.
Right.
But
can you prolong the life of an open bottle of red by refrigerating it, or does that not help?
I don't think that would help a whole lot. I haven't really tried it because I usually drink it up fast enough, and I don't like my reds chilled generally. So
can you freeze wine?
Well, yes, you can. It's not as easy as it is to freeze water because of the alcohol content. It takes a lower temperature to freeze it. But if you put it in, an unopened bottle into the freezer, it's going to push the cork out because, of course, it will expand as it freezes.
What wines deserve decanting?
Usually, I think older wines are ones that you'd want to decant, 10
And the
plus years
purpose
old.
is aeration?
Yeah, give it some air. And, it's kind of a fancy thing to do in a way. You've kept this bottle for a long time. It's a presentation of something special.
Yeah.
It's not a
so it has
necessity.
an aesthetic component.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's nice.
And what's your rule on the serving temperature of wine?
I don't have any hard and fast. I think basic room temperature is generally best for reds. Whites, you can definitely have them too cold, which really mutes the aromatics and the flavor. It can numb your palate, and so I'd say maybe 50 or so for whites. I don't know. What do you think?
It's usually 42 to 48 is what they recommend.
Have you heard the 20-minute rule? Is that a thing?
I
Like
have
you're supposed
not.
to. What I've heard is you're
Only if
supposed to
you're
take
swimming
a white wine out of the fridge 20 minutes before you're going to serve it.
Okay.
And put a red
Right,
wine
because
in
the
the
fridge-
fridge 20 minutes before you're going to
well-
serve it to bring it more to the cellar temp.
I
as
mean,
they
that could be
say.
appropriate because cellar
Depending on
temp
how
is
warm
in the
your-
50s.
How hot your
So,
apartment is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whites, like he said, I mean, it's called chilled beyond recognition. If you don't really like the wine, chill it further.
That's a good point.
But you might find if it's too cold, you don't like it, and you let it warm up, and you do.
Yeah.
One
That's
time,
true.
I remember having a champagne that my wife and I were sharing on an anniversary, and it was too cold. And as it warmed up, it's like, wow, this is. It wasn't just because we were drinking more of it.
Yeah.
It had changed as it warmed up. So that was really nice.
And to really analyze wines, especially white, whites normally always chill, but if you bring it to room temperature, that's when you'll see the most flaws if there are any.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
no problem.
That was great.